To the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Smackdown spoilers, along with your WWE main event, and birthdays, and other news going around the world. What's going on in WWE and what have you, lawsuits, everything. Mark Hartson attended WWE Raw taping in London and posted what was not posted on the show. He's seen his opinion after the taping. Bray Wyatt said it's time to have some real fun. He picked up on John Cena's shoe, which had been falling off down the ramp, and said, "Harper knocked Cena clean out of his shoes." A John Cena shoe chant started, which sang along to the style of his theme tune. Funny. Wyatt issued an open challenge to anyone who has the gall to brawl. The Shield came out and hit their spots and sent the crowd home happy, while Cena continued to sell on the floor. Other notes, the majority of the matches were poor. Superstars were taped before Cody Rhodes and Jack Swagger put on a decent match, but the other than most of the card was quite below par in terms of match quality. Seth Rollins and Batista did not have any chemistry at all. It was hilarious to see everyone leave for a toilet break when Alicia Fox made her entrance, only to turn and run back when they heard Paige's music. Before the show started, Justin Roberts introduced the German announce team, which seemed odd, so the Spanish announce team, we got German. Was this just for the purpose of Dean Ambrose running across the two tables? Pointless. The Adam Rose chant continued on the way out of the arena and even split into the London Underground tubes. Expect this to catch on as the new Fandango type sing-along song. Luke Harper can clearly go in the ring and seems very underrated at the moment. After Raw TV taping concluded, the Shield defeated the Wyatt family as David Skilton sent word that the Wyatts came back to the ring and issued an open challenge to the three guys in the back. The Shield came out and then clean house triple power bombs Rowan. Following that, Bad News Barrett comes out, delivered some bad news to Rowan, then proceeded to promo the British talent with the WWE. This was the face side of Wade Barrett, the Barrett Barrage. This led to Stephanie McMahon coming out to inform Barrett that the show was over. After a few switching off of the lights, Triple H came down and mimicked the British accent after a promo. With the crowd chanting to Adam Rose's entrance theme, Rose came out to a massive pop, and the show finally ended with Barrett laying out Triple H with a microphone. WWE released the latest video looking at the top 5 European matches that you've never seen before this week. Stone Cold Steve Austin wrapped up a 4-part interview with Eric Bischoff. 3 of the shows are conducted in interview style, and the final includes questions from the fans. All 4 parts enjoyed the interview that no one would have predicted that when Eric Bischoff fired Austin years ago. Granted, I don't think podcasts even existed at the time, but you know what I'm saying. The latest Talk is Jericho podcast, hosted by Chris Jericho, features guitarist Zakk Wylde. Jericho also conducted a recent 2-part interview with Daniel Bryan. The interview was conducted after WrestleMania 30, but there's no mention of his neck surgery, so apparently it was recorded prior to that situation. It's a fun interview and highly recommended. Roddy Piper's latest podcast features an interview with Chavo Guerrero Jr. that dropped on Monday, and you can find the Ross, Piper, Jericho, and Steve Austin podcast at podcast1.com/today. Happy birthday goes to Mr. T. I pity the fool, though. Happy birthday goes to me. AKA real name of Lawrence Sherrard. Turned 62 years old. Mr. T's mother gave birth to him on May 21st, 1952. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame back in April. He may have mentioned his mom once or twice. Happy birthday goes would have been going to Chris Benoit and his wife Nancy, and their son Daniel before taking his as he killed his wife Nancy and allegedly killed his wife and son before taking his own life on June 24, 2007. Nancy herself was born May 24, 1964. She worked under the names of Woman and Fallen Angel during her career as a manager. She and her son Daniel were killed by her husband June 24, 2007. She was 43 at the time of her death. Dark main event for Smackdown was advertised as John Cena versus Bray Wyatt, which also as the advertised Arc main event for the same venue on Monday. Happy birthday would have been going to Randy. Ooh, yeah, Macho Man, Randy Savage. Real name Randy Mario Poffo died May 20th, 2011 when he suffered a cardiac event while driving. His brother Lanny Poffo stated recently that he would not object to his late brother being inducted into the Hall of Fame, even without him and his father, as he claims, was Savage's wish. If WWE simply apologized to his mother for not reaching out to her when Savage died. Also, happy birthday goes to Road Dogg. Brian Road Dogg James turned 45. He was born May 20th, 1969. Zack Ryder wrote on Twitter that he is not Adam Rose's buddy, but he's been denying it for weeks. Some of the WWE talents who aren't working the Wrestle European tour are returning to the United States. Today, now that the TV tapings are over, Zack Ryder and Justin Gabriel have both been reported as playing Adam Rose's buddy in recent weeks. Other UK stars who appeared as rosebuds with Adam Rose at this week's WWE tapings in London were Scottish Wrestling Alliance stars Joe Kofi, Mark Kofi, and Joe Hendry. Divas champion Paige recently spoke to Digital Spy to promote the current international tour. Below are some of the highlights. You've been destroying everyone in the ring since that Raw after WrestleMania. Apart from AJ, who's been absent, how much are you looking forward to her returning and demanding a match? If she does come, great. I can't wait because it gives me more competition, and I know she's going to be coming straight after me. She's going to be full of anger, and she's going to be better than ever. The girls so far have given me a great fight. Alicia Fox and Raw the other day really stuck out. Stuck it to me. But I still come out victorious. Tamina's always been very dominating. So I've really had a good run so far, so I look forward to AJ one day. You worked at FCW and also in NXT. How much has having NXT revolutionized the company from a wrestler's perspective? NXT as a whole is fantastic. When I first started, we didn't have the TV. We had to try and start again and again and build our brand, and no one really knew us. We were doing the live events and training every day. When Triple H took it over and made it his baby, he really jump-started it for us. I got a large fan base just from NXT itself. It's an amazing brand. NXT really helping. Everyone really enjoys it. It's really a short show, but it's full of wrestling, and people love the wrestling side of things too. They get what they want on Raw, then they get what they want on NXT. I think it helps having NXT. And as you get to see the young talent before they come up here, it's great for everyone. You won the NXT belt by beating Emma. What do you think of her transition to the main roster? And are we getting to see enough of her actually in the ring? Emma is incredible, first of all. I really enjoyed every single match I had with her, and she deserves everything that she's getting so far. She's really working hard. She's definitely a workhorse. She's really happy. People have seen what she can do, but not what she's so freaking fantastic at. It's good that people are seeing it bit by bit. If we just saw it all in our face already, people are going to get tired quickly. The way she's growing at the moment, she's doing great. You haven't seen the best of her yet? Definitely not. If you could wrestle anyone in history, they don't have to be another wrestler. Who would it be and why? Non-wrestlers, it would be UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion Ronda Rousey, because she's a badass and she's a big wrestling fan anyway. Wrestling-wise, I've wrestled a lot of the girls that I've really wanted to, like Natalya and Emma. I'd love to wrestle Lita, and Bull Nakano is one of my big inspirations. And that concluded the highlights of her interview. I read a story about a fan in the front row at the Rock on the Range Festival in Columbus, Ohio. That happened this past weekend. As a fan was injured, and when Chris Jericho heard about it, he went and stood by her side while she was checked on by EMTs and loaded into the ambulance. Jericho was there performing with Fozzy, and I'll show a picture of him along with the unseen face of the video, of the photo of the woman on a stretcher at the end of this video. Former WCW star Scott Norton recently spoke with In Your Head Online and was asked what was it like being in the NWO, as he replied. Being part of that was amazing. The biggest heel team of all time, probably the most popular group of the guys ever in pro wrestling. We took that thing to the limits. Nitro was just exploding. Wrestling was exploding. It was absolutely the biggest thing in pro wrestling ever. So being part of it, I was very grateful to be in the right time, right place. We had a great group of guys being around it, being involved in it. Absolutely the best part of the business for me here in the States. For those wondering why the season finale of WWE Total Divas was the main part of the Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella wedding is airing up against WWE's Payback pay-per-view on June the 1st. It's because of the Kardashians on E, as it will begin the second half of the current season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians on June 8th. So the current season of Total Divas needs to wrap up before that. Noted before that E had ordered 10 new episodes of the WWE Total Divas, confirmed by the press release last week, announcing season 3 with Rosa Mendez being added to the cast. He was previously paying an estimated $470,000 per episode, and WWE was spending about $400,000 per episode, so they weren't profiting a lot on the show. But season 3's episodes may have been ordered at a higher price point. The next season of WWE Tough Enough will indeed be filming for 6 weeks at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, beginning in early July. It will air this fall on the WWE Network, with Natalya facing Charlotte for the vacant WWE NXT Women's title at the May 29th live NXT TakeOver event. WWE wanted to have Ric Flair and Bret Hart in their corner. But Bret Hart has issues that made it impossible for him to attend the event. So it will be Rick in Charlotte's corner. No word yet on who they have considered to be using in Natalya as Natalya's father, Jim Neidhart, but his name wasn't mentioned in the report. We do know that Neidhart was recently with Natalya at a WWE taping in Greensboro to work on an Unruh project. For what it's worth, Bret has not signed a new Legends contract with WWE, so that may be it. WWE had an offer on the table for Ric Flair to return to TV in a more prominent role. Flair was scheduled to go to Pittsburgh this week to see Dr. Joseph Maroon for a full cardiovascular physical before WWE brings him back to TV as a regular character. Flair has been working out most recently and wants to get to 225 pounds before returning to TV. Currently, he's at 230 pounds. Woo! Hey, Flair, I'll give you that woo. Because if I can do it, you can do it too. There's a feeling that Flair has to come in as a babyface, but he always prefers to work as a heel, so there's no word yet on what role he will play. One idea suggested is to put Flair with The Miz to continue a storyline they began several months ago when Miz began using the figure 4 after Flair's blessing. The hope is that Flair will help elevate Miz to a top babyface. But there are some who believe this could be wasting Flair's time and a Miz is damaged goods. Flair reportedly wants to manage Dolph Ziggler, but it's clear that WWE hasn't been pushing Ziggler for more than a year now. They're also discussing having Flair manage the Shield to continue the angle from Raw a few weeks back, but Evolution's future is up in the air as Batista's negotiations. With the most recent deal that Flair signed with WWE, they still have to approve of all of his appearances. A problem could be brewing as there are reportedly negotiations which could easily fall through for an overseas wrestling tour that would see Flair actually wrestling in the ring. Goldberg, new interview with JR. Good old JR on the Ross Report is now online. Also look for it on Podcast 4, I believe, or JR's Barbecue. Goldberg confirmed that he had recent talks with WWE about returning to the ring, but they didn't go very far with that. Goldberg did let the company know that he is interested. And regarding a potential return feud, Goldberg named Roman Reigns, Triple H, and Brock Lesnar as potential stars that he would like to face, but he said he would let WWE decide those details. He said he will always have an unfinished business with Triple H and Lesnar, but would be interested in facing Reigns because they both play college football in Georgia. Goldberg noted that he does not watch WWE these days. He hasn't in years. but here's about some of the things going on through Twitter. He still talks to some wrestlers, including Lesnar, but they never talk about wrestling. Former TNA knockout SoCal Val, who attended several WWE events recently, was interviewed by Scott Fishman of the Miami Herald and talked about wanting to join WWE. She's quoted by saying, "I make no secret about that. I don't see TNA and WWE as this huge war. I think we all support each other. That's been evident whether it has been Dixie Carter or Stephanie McMahon or whoever. I think it's cool when people from both companies talk to each other. We're all friends anyways. People jump back and forth all the time. WWE is something I've watched and fell in love with since I was a kid. So of course that's somewhere I want to be and learn from the best and spread my wings. As long as I've been in the business, I'm only 28. I feel like there's definitely a future in WWE." Unquote. End of the interview on that. WWE NXT Champion Adrian Neville defeated Sami Zayn in a dark match prior to Tuesday's WWE main event and Smackdown tapings at the O2 Arena in London, England. UK wrestling legend Danny Boyd Collins was backstage visiting at the WWE Smackdown tapings in London, England on Tuesday. I'm not familiar with him. The following matches were taped on Tuesday at the O2 Arena in London, England for tonight's WWE main event broadcast. Or Tuesday's broadcast. Mark Henry versus Cesaro. Sandow versus R-Truth. Naomi versus Oksana. Gee, I wonder which one will be the main event. Probably Henry versus Cesaro. At the closing bell on Tuesday, WWE stock was only $10.93 per share. What a crash! Stock market crash. That's from the NBC Universal deal. Here's the official trailer for Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, the film featuring Batista as Drax the Destroyer. Before WWE business outlook call from Vince McMahon and George Barrios on Monday, there were some in WWE who were worried about McMahon making changes to management. As they instructed, McMahon feels that his management team, Barrios included, made him believe that WWE would get more of its new TV deal. Since the TV deal didn't go exactly like WWE planned, there has been concern that Vince would be making major changes. As of now, there haven't been any firings or departures of any kind or future endeavors. If Vince McMahon isn't happy, things will begin to change real quick. Triple H shot his Muscle and Fitness magazine cover about 3 weeks before WrestleMania 30. The shoot took place at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, and I believe I posted some of the photos from the shoot. And Stephanie McMahon was also there, but no word on if she will be featured. Former NWA champion and NRO Ring of Honor booker Adam Pearce was now down at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando this week. Second week, he'll be there all week training some of the NXT talent. WWE released the following video of Alicia Fox and Kofi Kingston at Special Olympics 2014 USA Games basketball game. The event took place last week in Greensboro, North Carolina. And again, you can go to the link. TMZ reports that WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas has made it known that he wants to wrestle in an upcoming event set to be held in Pyongyang, North Korea. Later this August, the event is being organized by famous promoter Antonio Inoki. He's a Japanese promoter and wrestler. As the 70-year-old Atlas has been reportedly said he was proud to lace up his boots for a match there. Atlas said on the subject of performing there, if Mr. USA wins this match, the people of North Korea will have freedom from oppression. And Mr. USA always fights for freedom and righteousness. He added that he is anxious to get a call from the event's organizer, Antonio Inoki himself. Any clues on that? Korea is racist. So we get some comments on that. Hugh Jackman appeared on ESPN Sports Center yesterday during his segment with former WWE employee Jonathan Coachman. Jackman cut a promo on John Cena, and you can see it here, this link on ESPN.go.com. And the latest Where Are They Now article on WWE.com, the website looks at former tag team champion Joey Mercury. Mercury is now a producer with WWE and has quite the impact on the Shield. And here are some highlights from the article itself. Seth Rollins comments he is a mastermind when it comes to wrestling psychology and the ins and outs of being in the ring, Seth Rollins explained he loves teaching people how to do things and how to do them better. He's a talent maximizer. He takes your best assets and makes them better. He takes the things you're terrible at and helps you improve. Dean Ambrose is quoted by saying there will be a dozen Hall of Famers who thank Joey Mercury first and foremost in their acceptance speech. And the latest fantasy matchup featuring the Shield versus the Horsemen. YouTube link. Of course, I do my own courtesy of SVR 2011 Dream Matches. I'll post that link on YouTube. I'll do them on my WWE 12 and 13 games. I started off on my 2011 Smackdown vs. Raw game, and now it's just WWE 12 and 13. The following credit goes to IYHWrestling.com. Renee Dupree recently spoke about living clean in the wrestling business and more. And here are the highlights from it. It has been hard to be clean living in the wrestling business. Is it hard to be clean living in the wrestling business? People, places, and things. That the first thing that they teach you in rehabilitation programs. So if you're around people, places, or things that trigger you wanted to use your drug, of course, you've got to change that environment. From what I hear, the WWE has really cleaned up, and that's really strict on it, and it's the best thing that has ever happened. I'm sure that there are some guys who fall through the cracks, but I can tell my guys, just by looking at them, they're on their A game. I think Hunter has a lot more involvement now as well, and he's always been a straight edge type of guy. What is the biggest misconception about you? That I'm actually the person you saw on TV. I think maybe back then, I think a lot of people backstage didn't like me, but hey, I was a 20-year-old kid, left when I was 23. You can blame it on age at times. I think that's a big part because I never maliciously tried to hurt anybody. I'm not that type of person. At times, I'm very confident in my ability. Now more than ever, I'm here to do a job, and I can do it very well. But when you really get to know me, I'm a down-to-earth guy. End of that interview. David Millen of David Millen Belts is profiled in a story on money.cnn.com. Today, McMillan makes the majority of the title belts the WWE uses, as well as belts for Bellator and other wrestling and MMA promotions. You can see the full video at this link. Okay, so basically a man buys these things from a company with the word belts in the name, and the guy who makes them says he makes belts, but they aren't belts. Yeah, I guess that's good to say in the video. 2K Sports has announced today that WWE 2K15 will indeed be released on October 28th this year. Lining up with previous release dates, 2K originally announced a delay to Q1 of 2015 in February, but quietly announced that the release today by Twitter and their forums. And I'll post that link as well for the verification. And of course, international will be October 31st. The game will be available on both current and last generation consoles such as PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, Xbox One. Some good business news for WWE in a week of hit after hit. The fact that the game will be available not only on the current generation PS4 and Xbox One, but the older PS3 and 360 is also good news for fans as WWE, as the older console still holds significant market share, but no internet servers on WWE 12 and younger, or older, I should say. Taped for tonight's from Tuesday night's episode of at the O2 Arena in London, England. Spoilers courtesy of Michelle Bluth. Main event. Cesaro and Paul Heyman kicks off the show and got a good reaction from the crowd. Heyman was cutting a promo until Mark Henry came out to interrupt him. They set up a match between Cesaro and Henry for later in the show. That's the main event. Sandow came out dressed as Sherlock Holmes, as Sandow defeated R-Truth in what was described as a long, boring match. And the Divas match, Naomi defeated Oksana. There was a lot of CM Punk chants during the match. So I guess they didn't edit it or whatever. And so, and the main event was Cesaro defeating Mark Henry. Second results, same as the first. More brief. Sandow defeated R-Truth. Naomi defeated Oksana. Cesaro defeated Mark Henry. And then 2 reports for Smackdown at the O2 Arena in London, England. Spoilers, again. First one takes to Michael Bluff. Smackdown opened up with a Hall of Famer, Hulk Hogan, coming out to a massive pop. Hogan cut a promo about being the host of the show and hyping that the WWE Network is coming to the UK soon. Matches announced for later in the show, including the Usos versus Jericho and Harper, and Dolph Ziggler versus Batista in an ODQ match. Batista defeated Dolph Ziggler in what was described as a good no disqualification match. So that was your opening match. Bo Dallas made his re-debut, defeating Sin Cara in under 4 minutes. He cut a cheesy heel promo before the match and got a lot of heat from the crowd. The Wyatt family came out with Bray cutting another great promo on John Cena and hyping their upcoming match at Payback. Sheamus defeated Alberto Cesaro was on commentary. Miss Piggy Guerrero came out to the ring and got a ton of heat. She was quickly interrupted by Adam Rose and Rosebuds. They all danced around the ring as Adam Rose entered, telling Vicky to be a rosebud, not a lemon. And your main event for SmackDown saw the Usos with John Cena defeating Roman Harper. And Roman and Harper with Bray Wyatt after the match. Wyatt family beat down the Usos and John Cena at the end of the show. But they may need to do some editing here as the finish wasn't very good. Second report, just brief. First at WrestlingInc.com, Hulk Hogan cut a promo. He pimped the WWE Network coming to UK, and he had Jimmy Hart with him. Maybe he should have used his megaphone. Brother! Batista defeated Dolph Ziggler in an ODQ match. Cameron and Naomi over Eva Marie and Brie Bella with some array of special referee. Bo Dallas defeating Sin Cara. Match number 4, U.S. Champion Sheamus defeating Alberto Del Rio. Miss Piggy Guerrero appeared and was interrupted by Adam and the Rosebuds. And your main event was the Tag Team Champions, the Uso Brothers, with John Cena defeating Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. Apparently, I did not find any results for the main event dark match results on SmackDown. And that concludes my SmackDown video for this week. Thanks again. Peace out. See you when you want to be up. Oh, if you didn't know, you better call me, bro.